Welcome back, my unhinged friends. It's that time again where I tell you some of my favorite strange and unusual tales. Today we're going back. Way back. To the beginning of time, before anything existed. All cultures have a creation story, and most of them, lucky for us, are absolutely insane. In this episode, we're talking temptation, banishment, and the fall of man. This creation story is probably one that we're all most familiar with. Adam and Eve. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. Now before we get into this, if you've watched my other videos, you might have noticed that I commonly refer to the mythological gods as trash. And this might also occur when I'm telling religious stories. It is not meant to offend anyone. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what I believe. I am simply telling these stories just as that. Stories. So we open with nothing. Because in the beginning, there was nothing. Except God. And he decides to build Earth. He says, "Let there be light," and there was. And then he separates light from darkness, and there's your first day. And then God says, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water beneath from the water above it. And God called the vault sky, and I'm already confused. He makes dry land and all kinds of fruit-bearing vegetation on the dry land. Then he threw up the sun and the moon in the vault, and the stars too. He makes all the animals, first the water ones, and then all the bird type things, and then he makes the land animals. And he was like, alright, I'm on a roll now. And then he decides to make mankind. In his image. What could go wrong? And the Bible says, in the image of God he created them. Male and female, he created them. And then he tells them to be fruitful and multiply, and that they have rule over all the animals of earth. He says, "I give you every green plant and every animal that has the breath of life in it for food." So we're talking one badass buffet. And then by the seventh day, God is pooped. He just built a whole straight up Sims world, and he needs a break. Then immediately in the next chapter, it starts out by saying, this is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Which I was pretty sure we had just covered. And then it says God formed man from dust. Then he plops that man down in this garden that he built. And then we have the first mention of the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now don't forget that just in the last chapter, it made it sound like God made Adam and Eve at the same time. Remember when he was telling them about that bomb buffet? But now, we only have Adam. So God had put Adam in that garden to work it. And to take care of it. And God tells Adam, you are free to eat from any tree in this garden. Except that one. The knowledge of good and evil tree, don't eat from that one. Because if you do, you will certainly die. And Adam's like, you got it, bud. I don't even know what any of this means. Right? I mean, essentially he was just born. He's like a little baby man. Or not. I have no idea. So God says, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper. So God sends in all the animals that he made, so that Adam can pick a helper, and he's naming all of them, and God's like, no, 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 this isn't working. In Snow White, the animals were helpful. These ones are lazy, and Adam won't stop crying. I need a new strategy. So God brings out his anesthesia and knocks Adam out to start surgery. Kinda. Says he put him in a deep sleep. And then he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Surgery. And he made woman out of the rib, and they lived happily ever after. Just kidding. Absolutely not. So the next chapter starts talking about a serpent, almost as if we should already know about this serpent, which we do not, because there were no specific animals mentioned. At least not in the Bible I'm reading. In fact, just for context, this is the Bible that I'm reading out of. The NIV. No specific animals mentioned in there.
Nope.
And it says, the serpent was more crafty than any of the other wild animals that God had created. Which he would have known, because he made it. And the serpent says to Eve, did God really say that you must not eat from any tree in the garden? And Eve was like, well, actually, in the first chapter, we were allowed to eat from any tree, but now in this chapter, I came from a rib, and now we're not allowed to eat from that tree in the middle over there, or else we'll die, whatever that means. And the serpent tells her, you will not die. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So Eve was like, okay, and she ate from the tree. And it says, she also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate it. Now, I feel like whenever I was taught this story as a kid, they made it seem like Eve was this tricky witch who tempted Adam into eating this fruit. But in the story, it says that Adam was right there with her. So he heard the whole pitch from the serpent, and he decided to eat too. All on his own accord. And while we're on the matter of temptation, I wouldn't really consider what the serpent told Eve tempting. He basically just told her that God's a liar and no, she's not gonna die if she eats from the tree. She chose, Adam chose, they both chose to eat the fruit. Kids will be kids. So after they both eat from the tree, their eyes are open. And with their open eyes, they suddenly realize, we're naked. We are naked. And also, what does that say? They just ate from this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and now they realize that they're naked? Is that implying that being naked is either good or evil? Like which one? I don't know. I don't know. It was just a thought. Well, anyway, they don't like it, and they feel ashamed of themselves. So they sew together some fig leaves and cover themselves. And then they hear God, because for some reason he's out walking in the garden, and they hide from him. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Where the hell are you guys? And Adam pokes his little head out, and he's like, I'm sorry, I heard you, but I hid from you because I'm naked. And God was like, who told you that you were naked? You ate from that damn tree, didn't you? And Adam's like, it's her, she made me do it. And Eve is like, oh yeah, blame it on me when you know it's the snake's fault. And then God yells at the serpent and curses it so that it'll have to crawl on its belly for the rest of the days of its life. Which, how was it moving before that? Did it have legs? Did serpents originally have legs? It doesn't say. I don't know. So then God tells Eve that her punishment will be labor pains during childbirth, and that her husband will rule over her. And Adam's punishment is hard labor. And then God makes them clothes, and he says, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And that statement is very interesting. Because who is us? Who is us? Some people argue that God is talking about himself as like the Holy Trinity, but who knows? I don't. So God tells Adam and Eve that they're not allowed to live forever now, and basically to get bent, and he banishes them from the garden. And just to be sure that they can't eat from the tree of life, he sends an angel with a flaming sword to guard it. I don't know when God made angels or swords, but I might have missed that part. And, well, that's where we all come from. Two sinful fools who couldn't just be happy being ignorant and do what they were told. No, they had to crave knowledge and ruin all of our lives. So ladies, when you're in the throes of labor, be thankful that the church doesn't have control anymore and you can get that epidural. Oh yeah, that was a thing. And fellas, you can thank Adam while you're out breaking your back doing hard labor. Wait, women do that too. Oh hell, it's all their fault anyway. After all, God only created them. And the tree. And the serpent. And knew all of that would happen. Anyhow, that was the fall. And how we all came to be and why things are the way they are. All because of stupid humans. Go figure. So if you like this story, or hated it, give it a like, and subscribe to my channel. Join me next time for more Storytime Unhinged. Please lay down. Yes, you. You're jingling again. Please lay down. Put your head down. See? It's fucked up. Except that one. The one. The tree. Fuck. I know. Do you have to be as thirsty as you've ever been in your entire life right now? How is this still happening? Oh, my back's broke. Oh!